We still do have some sound from the Detroit Lions. I know you guys are down with the Lions. We got some sound on Sam Laporta out of Allen Park, as well as we got some NFL stuff, Tom. So
we do. Sam Laporta,
you
by the
have
way,
some fun with
Sam Laporta is on this sheet. Well, you want to try to build your best Detroit Lions team. Woodward Sports has that out on the Twitter, of course, on X. So check it out. We're going to get that in a second. But Sam Laporta, he could be the next tight end in your team. Right now, he wants to talk about his new coach. It's Tim Roll.
Your new position coach there. Seems like a pretty fiery, smart guy. Tyler's been great so far. Our first phone call, he talked about, gaining trust with us. And I think he's starting to do that. And we love him so far. Very fiery, as you mentioned. And we appreciate all that. We love him.
He says the right thing. They all say the right thing, these guys. They all got a lot new position coaches on this team and a lot of new coordinators, both new coordinators, offense and defense. You got new coaches on this team as well. They still have a lot of talent on this team, and, of course, they added to it with all of their picks in this last draft. But, fellas, Bray, I can ask you because you've been on 2 or 3 teams. Changing a coaching staff almost in full. A couple guys moved around, but other than that, they brought in a lot of new talent on this team. How does it affect the team going forward?
If people don't come in trying to, change the way something has already existed, like the Detroit Lions already have an offense that works. Like it works to the tune of being the best offense in the NFL. If you go by statistics, if you come in as a coach, this already works. Like my job as a coach is to implement the way in which the coaches want to put in game plans. So however offensive coordinator, Johnny Moe, wants to put it in, it's my job as it's my job as Coach Rule to implement it in the way that it's taught, not change anything. You got a couple little nuances here or there. They already are a fine oil machine. You just got to keep that oil running. You just have to be a reminder. That's what coaches become at this point. Once you get good, once you're dialed in, you just become a reminder. Hey, just make sure you get your depth on that. Hey, make sure you do 1, 2, 3, catch the ball, then tuck, and then go up the field. Hey, make sure on this play you remember now this is going to be a hard count. So just make sure you take it. That's it. So you can't necessarily, to your point, you can't mess that up. So I'm excited to hear what they're going to do this year, man. I'm excited to see. I think Sam Laporta, I know he wants to have a better year. And it's not necessarily he had a bad year. There's some injury stuff in there. There's some schematical things and implementing J-Mo a little bit here than there. But I know he wants the ball. He's a baller out of Iowa. He balled year one. Like when you get used to that type of success, you want to have more. So this is going to be a pivotal year. And him and Aiden pushing each other, it's going to be fun.
And I think that Morton is going to utilize Laporta more because, as we heard yesterday, Ben Johnson likes explosive plays, and that is J-Mo explosive Williamson. So when I look at the defense, I know that we're going to miss AG because he was awesome, but this is the best defense that the Lions have ever had, hands down, in my entire lifetime.
Yeah.
And then this offense, nothing's changed. In fact, the offensive line has gotten deeper and better. And I think when you take less chances and you play more to your strengths instead of getting bored with first downs and needing big plays, we're not going to miss any of the assistant coaches and coordinators that we lost last year. This team will be better with these new faces.
That remains to be seen. We will see, and that's a strong statement, so we will see. Time will tell all for everybody. The one thing about AG, though, that was different, it's the conversation on the field. It's the conversation to his safety. Hey, look, this isn't how we do it. This is how we do it. It's the conversation to a DB. How did you see it on that play? Break it down so that we can get on the same page. It's the conversation to the coaches. AG was magnificent at that. He was magnificent. How many times, man, did you catch yourself just watching AG coach on the TV? I didn't even need to hear what he was saying.
I like when he was sitting on the bench after they wrap up a game and he's chilling with his legs crossed.
So
that was my favorite part. That's like the victory cigar.
And things like that, that's why we're appreciative that it's Kelvin Shepherd that's taking the mantle, because he saw firsthand how that worked for this team, how that worked for the players. So I don't want him to be AG, but I want him to implement some of the things that he knows works for this team that he saw AG do.
No doubt. Now, there's other tight ends on this team as well. The Lions use them all. Dan Campbell, the former tight end. By the way, he's on that sheet, too, if you could build a team, and we're going to get to that in a minute. But here is Sam Laporta talking about his buddy, Brock Wright.
Together with Brock now for 3 years. What is the value of that continuity within a room
to have a guy that you know what he's about, he knows what you're about, and you have that trust built up?
Yeah, in terms of like communication, it's getting to the point where a lot of things don't really need to be said between Brock and I. We're just out there and we know what we both need. We know what's going on. We kind of just look at each other, like give each other the agreeance look, like this is how we're going to work this set or, fit this run scheme. So we're just on the same page a lot, and communication is starting to become less and less, which is a good thing. Just operating without all the extra stuff, I guess.
Yeah, you got Shane Zylstra. I'm not sure if he's even still on the team or not, but they let James Mitchell walk. But they'll probably bring in a couple of more pass-catching tight ends as well. They all block. Brock Wright got paid last year. They kept him out of San Francisco. And we all said, when it comes down to paying all your guys that you want to keep, Sam Laporta is going to be due next year. Do you keep him? Or do they keep a Brock Wright who is a cheaper version of Sam Laporta? Or am I underselling Sam Laporta because of the slow start he had last year? I mean, he didn't have the year he had the first year that he had last year.
Yeah, you're not underselling it, because you saw last year that you didn't necessarily need him like that. Or you saw that, maybe that year one was a lot of schematics versus the greatness of Sam Laporta. Now, I'm not going to be as Sam can play. That boy can play his game. He can play his positioning. So I think this is going to be a pivotal year to see how you can use him, because he's not going to be somebody I think you have to pay the max to. He's not going to be somebody that's going to, we got to pay him what Travis Kelce got in year 7. We don't have to pay him what, Brock Bowers is going to get at some point.
I mean, they traded Hockenson because they drafted this kid out of Iowa. They're smart shoppers.
Yeah, they traded.
So you already know that Brad Holmes is looking next year. Who am I going to pick? I'm probably going to take a tight end in one of the top 3 rounds.
That's right.
And maybe back himself up.
It just depends on what you have to pay him, though, Maz, because, look, by him not having numbers and stats last year, he didn't double what he did the year before. So now you're looking at him in a certain market and saying this would be better for you. You're not looking at him in a certain market anymore because he had this fall-off year. He has another just serviceable year. You don't have to pay him the moon. Mm-hmm. He's a tight end at the end of the day. No disrespect to position, but what they get paid, this isn't a position that's going to handicap you if you have to pay him top 8 money, top 10 money.
I imagine that other teams would be really happy to throw money at him, especially what he put on film his first year. I think he was badly underused last year. I think he's your third running back out there. When you can dump the ball over the middle and a controlled play like that.
But let me ask you, you say badly used. They won 15 games.
Certainly. I felt like Ben Johnson wanted to get J-Mo going. And I felt like there was a lot of situations that called for a very easy pass over the middle to your really good tight end instead of an end-around pass play from J-Mo, or many of the times where we saw an offensive coordinator that we know now prefers the big play instead of the play that works. Laporta works, and we know that. I would imagine that you're going to see a little bit of a regression from J-Mo this year, and you're going to see a positive regression out of Laporta back closer to what he did his first year. I think it's going to be hard for him to repeat what he did his first year, especially with this new offensive coordinator. I think they're going to play a more smash mouth controlled offense.
If there's regression out of J-Mo, I would be alarmed if there were.
Well, isn't there regression kind of doing what he did or just a little bit less?
Okay. I see what you're saying.
Because everybody's expecting him to go to 1,100.
I got you. Regression in numbers, not in play.
Correct.
Okay, respect.
Correct.
I was just going to bring up, I'm still going to beat the Cincinnati Bengals drum, call the Bengals. They're not going to start the season with Mike Gesicki at tight end. They're just not going to do it. I'm sorry. That's not a compliment to the wide receivers, to T. Higgins and Jamar Chase. It's not going to work. So if Laporta is due max money and you want to see him go and he can be a really, really good tight end somewhere and get production and get work where they don't have a dominant running back like Jahmyr, because this is Jahmyr Gibbs' team. We don't need, right now, we don't need firemen at the tight end position. And I think that Sam Laporta would do better as a Bengal at this point in time because I think the Lions would do better bringing in Trey Hendrickson. I'm beating that drum, but that's the drum I'm beating.
There it is.
That drum is done, by the way.
I knew
care.
people was
Closing in on signing Hendrickson.
Cincinnati's
going to
pay him.
They will.
You know what it is? You can't pay, and then you cannot not pay an individual that comes out and speaks that well, lays it all out like that, and then his body of work matches the conversation. You would just be an idiot.
You would look like you had egg on your face.
100%.
No doubt about it. Hey, last one from Sam Laporta. We all talked about the Olympics in 2028 in L.A. Flag football. Well, he was asked about flag football. Here's Sam Laporta.
News comes down that the NFL players are going to be allowed to play at the Olympics. What's the reaction among the group, and is that something that you would, like to do if you're able?
That's 2028. I feel like that's so far away. I mean, just thinking back, like 2 years coming into the league in 2023, and now it's 2025. It feels like an eternity, to be honest, in the best way possible. But that's pretty far away. If I was to be selected, I feel like I would participate. Just such a cool thing to represent your country. So we'll see, but that's in a couple of years. I'm not sure when the training would start for that either, to be honest.
There's going to be a lot of Sam Laportas out there. Not sure. I mean, it sounds great. Yeah, I'm going to go. You got to go to the Olympics. But you know what? You're not going to another country. You're only going to L.A. So it is kind of a home Olympics. So it's an honor, man. It's an honor to represent your country in the Olympics, for crying out loud. But flag football, man, it's going to be great. They're going to have their own league. But I just don't think, man. And, man, it's tough. As a person that just wants to watch the game, I would love to see the best players playing for the country, playing for the U.S. But if one of my guys goes down, I will be devastated.
Right.
Man,
Gets taken out by some plumber from Germany.
Yeah.
I think you guys.
Amen.
I think you guys hit the nail on the head as it relates to the players actually wanting to play in this. Because when I was listening to that podium talk, that session, if you will, by Laporta, this is what I heard. When is it? That's like 2028. It's like
whatever.
That's BS. You know exactly when it is. You know exactly how many years it is. They've already been talking about that. I saw that as I think players want to play in it.
Yeah,
and you hear how you say, he's like,
I know they do.
Well, that's a couple years from now. I'm saying you're right.
Yeah.
You're 1,000%. I'm not right. I thought you would have guys like, I'm good. I don't need to play in that. But
it ain't the Pro Bowl. It's the Olympics.
Shout out Sam Laporta, graduated top of his class in the police academy this summer. I'm kidding. What did he do to his look?
Sam's never had a look.
Yeah.
But he's never had a look.
He's got a cop look now. Shout out Roger Will.